Yes, good morning everybody. Welcome to Davies on Cars and welcome back. It's been a little while. The world went a bit weird. I hadn't made any content at all to post during the lockdown, so I'm excited to be back and I'm excited to be here today talking a little about what it's been like buying a brand new car during the pandemic. It's not my car, I haven't been buying a new car, but my brother James, who, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you'll know, we've been called Harry Potter and Neville Longbottom by many funny people on the internet. He has been buying a new car, and I don't want to be too clickbaity, but it has been the most extraordinary transaction I've ever heard of. It's barely believable, and I don't think it's the kind of deal that will happen again outside of a pandemic. So I've already spoken with James. We're going to be as detailed as possible and share quite how the new car purchase came about, because I really believe that if you've got the cash and you're looking for a new car, there will not be a better time in your lifetime to go and buy a new car than in this pandemic. I'm of course here in the Aston Martin Virage. If anyone's wondering why the car itself is wet, but clearly it hasn't been raining, it's because a bird shat on it right before I started filming today and I had to hose it off, but I'm not going to get into that. I haven't done too much content with the car since I got it. I kind of picked it up at the end of January, then had to disappear to New York for work for a couple of weeks and then come home and lock it down and not really drive too much, but hey, that's the state of the world at the moment. So I'm yet to do a full feature review and proper walk around on what this is, why I got it, and why I really do believe that the Virage is probably the best collector car to be looking at right now. Two things that I have done though, let's run around back to the front. I have got my number plates on the car. They arrived about a week or two ago, so the car feels like mine now. It's personalized, and I know this bit's a bit nerdy. All Astons of this era with the DB9, Virage and DBS all came with a Lamy pen built into the dashboard. And the original owner of this car kept the bloody pen, so I got a replacement pen. It kind of completes the car. And I'm sure I'm the only person that cares, but hey, I get quite excited by these things. So James is on his way here now. We probably should hear him before we see him, to be honest. And when he gets here, we're gonna go for a drive and talk about what it's been like buying the Jag.
Not the most elegant exit I've ever done. I'm still getting used to big doors.
Wow.
I got the blue one.
You did get the blue, and I was going to ask, what color did you get? It's striking, isn't it? So what's the color called?
Ultra blue.
Ultra blue, okay.
I think very wasn't enough.
No,
Extremely wasn't enough.
they couldn't go with very
It had
blue.
to be ultra blue, they call it.
It's absolutely stunning.
It just pops on this car, doesn't it?
So what is it? It's obviously it's the F-Type.
This is the F-Type.
Which model, which number?
It's the V6, which the people will like to tell you is, you know, the more purist choice over the V8, which basically means I couldn't afford the V8, let's be honest. F-Type, V6, supercharged, R-Dynamic, which means just sort of lots of bits on it. 280 kilowatts. But the main feature, it's blue.
It is incredibly blue. So this is an upgrade from an A250 Mercedes,
An A-class.
and you've gone into a supercharged rear-wheel drive car. Are you finding it okay?
It's a bit intimidating.
Yeah.
I've only ever had front or all-wheel drive cars, and suddenly going to something which is on, what did we realise before? 305,
Yeah,
295, 30s.
We've both got the same rear tyres, don't we?
Same rear tyres, so we can swap, that's nice.
So I've already informed the viewers that you've had the most extraordinary buying experience during the middle of a coronavirus lockdown, which is not a scenario we wish on anyone, but holy shit, this has been the best time ever to buy a car.
It has been the best time ever to buy a car.
So we won't disclose all the numbers now, but let's
After
jump
break.
into the car, go for a drive, and we'll talk. If you are comfortable sharing a couple of numbers and talking a little bit about the experience, I think it's something that I still don't really believe, and I think it's something that I think could be quite interesting. So
Let's go for a drive.
I'm not going to do that cut.
No.
We'll just do a normal
No,
cut.
You're a shit schmeck.
I'm a shit schmee.
The Adventures of Harry Potter and Neville Longbottom.
It's kind of, but good. It's clever.
Yeah. Well, you know, you've got to embrace the branding that the internet gives you. You can't choose your own nickname, as I've always said.
Can't let the trolls win, so you got to agree with them.
Exactly.
I'm quite excited. There's a lot of interesting stuff
Yeah.
that has happened in the purchase of your car. And we'll take it back kind of a few steps, because you've been looking for a new car for quite a while.
I have been.
I'll let you pull out of this junction so you don't crash into a bicycle. But we were last year looking at Z4s, Porsche Cayman, Porsche Boxster, SLK, SL, BMW, but you always secretly wanted the Jag, didn't you?
The Jag was one of those cars that when it first came out, see, an old grey-haired man always lets you through when you've got a Jag.
Good on him.
This was one of those cars where when it first came out and I first saw that Top Gear review, I thought, I'm having one of those. And I always thought it'd be a car I'd end up having, you know, when it was 20 years old and I had to do a lot to bring it back up to spec. It's never a car I thought I would, you know, own at sort of this stage in my life. But I've embraced the early midlife crisis.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. It's the same logic I've had with my car. All of the ads of the people driving the things are kind of good-looking, younger guys. They've got the pretty girl. But the people who you actually see buy them are always the greying older man, because they want to have the younger life.
Exactly.
So why not be the guy in the ad, drive the car when it's intended to be driven? Slow down here, sorry. I have to, because this is a good segue.
Now, you see, I could have got a white one.
And the white one is...
It's a gorgeous car, but it's not blue.
And all of the ones on the market that we looked at, if you look through car sales, you look through Auto Trader, they're all white with black interior.
The F-Types, white with black interior.
And
I think it was the hero colour.
And it's a good looking spec.
It is.
But it just means that the market is saturated with white cars. And for the eagle-eyed people, they may have noticed that this is not white.
It's not white.
Is that one of those high spec edition Porsche Turbo S's? That's
In
a
the
lot
gold.
of money worth of
That's
car.
a very expensive Porsche.
So this car you had seen kind of December time, hadn't you?
This car, so I'm sure we've all done this in our journey of looking for cars over the years. Just run over a man. You go and you inquire on a car that you really like, but you know you can't quite afford. But you inquire on it anyway. And so I popped through an inquiry on this car, I think it was December. And we had a very pleasant chat and kind of gave myself a bit of an out, given that I wasn't going to be able to afford the car at the time. And that was that. They weren't going to come to the price.
Yeah.
They weren't going to meet me at that point, so we kind of mutually walked away from it. But then I noticed in January, they dropped the price a little bit, and I thought, oh, you know, whenever you see them do that, you think, oh, well, maybe they'll drop it another 20 grand if they keep
to the
doing that.
halfway point, and you think, well, maybe if you put in a low ball, or you kind of go and talk to them, see where the middle ground is.
Yeah.
Because because it's still really a brand new car. I know it's not 2020 and it's not got 0 kilometers on it, but you're the first real registered owner.
That's
it
right.
comes from the Jag dealer with a full warranty. It's buying a new car that's just been sitting in their yard for a little while.
Exactly.
So you can fast forward then to kind of start of the pandemic. Everything goes to shit. I mean, we've seen a couple of statistics that have come out to say that, what is it, the used car market is something like 40 or 50% down, or the new car market is something 40 or 50% down in the month of March, April.
And you can tell why, right? Like,
Yeah.
A, you're not needing a car, so it's not front of mind to go out and shop for a car. And why would you commit yourself to, you know, that much cash in a pandemic?
Or it could also just be, well, I'm not going to go walk around and look at a new car in April. I'm going to wait until I can safely walk about. So it absolutely destroyed the car market for a
really
while.
did.
And if you put yourself in the position of a dealer who's got cars on their fleet, on their yard, they need to keep them moving to bring in next year's models, because there's already the new F-Type that's coming in.
That's right.
And they know that they're just going to keep on losing money on this car if they don't just move it.
Until they have a brand new F-Type sitting next to it, and someone has to make the comparison between the two of them, right?
So you made contact again with Jag kind of mid-pandemic when everything was going on.
So, call it the week before the pandemic, the week before we'd all been sort of locked down. They dropped the price again. It was only by about $1,500, but again, I thought, I'll give them a call.
Yeah, it gives you the car sales
Gives you the
notification.
opportunity to have a chat. So, gave them a buzz, and we went through the same story. We weren't going to meet where we both wanted to be, and so it was a very polite, thanks, but no thanks. Then we had the lockdown hit, and then a week later, they called me. It's the first time that they'd come to me on this car.
It's playing hard to get, can't it?
It's dating, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. And they came to me to say, we need to move cars. Like, it's pretty obvious what's happening out there. And they said to me that they were very motivated to sell. And
talk about that piece in how motivated they were, because the head office had created a stimulus package of sorts, hadn't they?
yeah, so they said to me that Jag Australia, if you will, had come to them with some cash, like a stimulus package, and effectively said, use it however you need to start moving cars. And so he said to me, and he said, it's very unusual, but we've got the opportunity to start rethinking, or sort of taking a few new offers on the car. So he said, where would you be? And it was weird because I'd already put offers in on this car that they'd rejected, so they already knew where I wanted to be. But all of a sudden, in a pandemic, I didn't particularly feel comfortable sticking with my old offer. So I felt a bit of a dick changing my offer.
But it was the reality of it as well, because you still had your A250 Mercedes. You hadn't been able to move that for a couple of months.
Had been on car sales for 4 months.
And you've got to realistically think, well, maybe I'll buy my car at the offer I've put in, but then I've still got my old car, which I'm not going to be able to move for a couple of months.
That's the problem.
And the idea, I remember having the phone conversation with you about what your ideal scenario would be, and it was trade-in.
I needed to get rid of my current car. And so I said to him, I've got to trade in. I have to clear my car as part of this deal. And
It's an Audi.
yes, it's an A3.
Yeah.
I was no longer comfortable to finance. So I said to him, look, I have to pay cash. So I've got my car and I've got this amount of cash, and that's realistically what I could do.
Yeah, and you shared with them, look, this is the upper limit of the resources that I can put into the car. That's kind of it.
The upper limit of the resources that I can... Wow.
Yeah.
That's...
Businessy.
You've suddenly become an accountant.
I have. And they took that. It's the kind of offer where we both joked about it over the phone and thought, well, they're not going to take it. They're going to go, well, it's a bit too low.
It's a bit too low.
But it's worth a shot because of the scenario.
That's right. Well, it's not even that it was worth a shot. It was more just a case of, all right, I'll be honest with you guys about how much I can pay for that car.
It was almost half of what they started listing the car at a year earlier.
It was pretty close. And it was one of those offers where you felt like you were going to be laughed at and insulted, to the point where I said, look, if this isn't a workable offer, I don't even want you to treat it as a real offer, because I don't want to insult you. So if it can't be done, let's just walk away from it. But at the same time, I said, look, if we can make that work, it's a genuine offer. I'll be around this afternoon with a deposit for you. And I think I gave you a buzz after I put in the offer, and we said, what have I got to lose?
Yeah.
And then he called me back and he said, yeah, you've got a deal.
Yeah.
And it stunned me, because I simply, I was prepared to buy the car if they came back and said it could be done, but I didn't expect a deal like that.
So on the actual value form, or the deposit form and everything, there was your cash.
There was my cash.
There was your car.
There was my car.
And they will have taken money from Jaguar Australia to offset their loss on the car. You would have felt like you were stealing the bloody thing.
I really did.
And the moment you drove away, that's when you knew, okay, they've got your car, they've got your money, you've got the car, they can't change their mind.
They can't change their mind.
They can't change their mind now. But basically, Jaguar head office paid for you to have a very good deal on this car.
Effectively. And if you looked at the contract of sale, it was structured in such a way that I still paid the asking price for this car. They didn't write down the value of this car. It's just that it was then credited. Like, there were sort of effectively incentives that were attached to it that brought the price down for me. It's just one of those deals that I don't think will ever be repeated again.
There's kind of a small window now, if people are looking at new cars, knowing that you know, people are going to be a lot more careful with their finances. People aren't going to be out roaming about looking for things. A lot of people have been unemployed and don't feel comfortable paying the money or cut. There's just a set of extraordinary circumstances right now that means if you have the cash, if you're going to go and finance one of these things, there's so much volatility that, you know, you don't want to create a bubble of faulty finance.
No.
So if you've got the means and it's not an extension of your means, there's a small window now where you can put in a lowball offer on a car, and just moving that car is enough of an incentive for the dealer to say, okay, we'll wear our loss, we'll take some money from head office to offset it and still write the normal value down.
That's right.
I can't imagine another time, short of another pandemic, where you will have such a good buyer's market for what is effectively a brand new car.
Exactly. Where am I going?
I don't know where you are.
That's a no-through road.
While you're turning around, we'll end the video there. So thank you very much for watching. This has been Ash Davies on Cars, or The Adventures of Harry Potter and Neville Longbottom. Someone's about to cycle past you, so don't crash into them.
Oh, it's got blind spot monitoring.
Ooh! So make sure you subscribe and like the video for even more. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.